Hi, hello, hi, how are you? Welcome to my YouTube Be Beautiful channel, where I believe that if a person has a beautiful mind, they will have a beautiful life because your inner world reflects your outer world. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, like all the things, all the things that help me, all the things. Today, we are going to talk about non-attachment. I struggled with explaining non-attachment because I don't want it to come off as if living non-attachment philosophy is not caring about things, people, or disassociating pretty much. And that's not what non-attachment is. Non-attachment comes from Indian culture, from Buddhism. I'm going to read you a definition and then I will go more into depth about what non-attachment is. Non-attachment is said to be one of the most salient correlates of, I don't know what salient means. This is embarrassing. Mindful practices. Non-attachment refers to a subjective quality of characterized by an absence of fixation on ideas, images, or sensory objects, as well as the absence of internal process to obtain, hold, avoid, or change circumstances or experiences. Yeah? Okay. A non-attachment is very much attached to suffering. And in the Buddhist perspective and philosophy, that is one of the many reasons why people suffer, because we are known to be attached to our cars, to our home, to the amount of money we have in our bank account. If we have a certain amount of money, we are happy. If we have a certain amount of money, we are sad. We are attached to whether the ideal of a perfect husband or the idea of having the ideal life, and all these attachments cause us anxiety, cause us fear, and cause an internal turmoil and lowers your overall well-being of your mental state. We are so attached to these things that we do not necessarily need to be attached to. And the only way that you can even realize that you are being attached to things or suffering when there's no need to suffer is by meditating and observing these patterns, sitting down with yourself, observing your thoughts, observing them as they come and they go, observing them as they flow, observing the feelings that come up in your body, observing why you're suffering, observing why it is that you got mad, observing what makes you sad, observing where the root cause is coming from. Do you not feel good enough? Do you feel as if the world is against you? Do you feel as if you're comparing yourself to other people? Do you feel hatred towards some people? And why is that? Why is that you feel that? There is an attachment there, and working on dismembering that, sending love and light to that part of your psyche is so important to living life every day and being in the present moment and getting rid of fear completely, getting rid of fear of failure, getting rid of fear of missing out, FOMO, as the kids say nowadays. The image that pops up in my head today is being the eye of the storm in your life, because it takes a lot to transform your life to where you want it to be. It doesn't happen in the snap of a finger. It's important to keep calm while you are changing everything that's happening around you. It's important to keep calm and not be attached to the expectations that you have in your head of people, of what you're supposed to be doing. When I first realized that I want to live in a van, I showed up to work and I felt so upset. I was judging people for being negative, but being the negative energy myself. I was attracting icky energies. I would wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe that I have to be here. Why am I not in a van? I was so attached to the idea of me being in a van that I could not enjoy anything around me. Nothing was funny. Everybody was annoying. I was getting nowhere with that mentality. If I would die that day, I would die unfulfilled. I don't want to die unfulfilled. I could die any day. Non-attachment is being able to recognize, hey, listen, I don't have the money to buy a van right now. I am currently saving up to buy a van. So if I am coming in a crappy mood, attached to the idea of the future, instead of being in the present moment, I'm messing up my possibilities of getting a higher amount of tips that day, in turn taking less money home. That means saving less money for the future to buy my van. The idea of non-attachment is to focus on what it is that you can do right now in this moment. Non-attachment also helps you let go of things that you love dearly, because it's not good for you. If you're too attached attached emotionally to something, you may feel too afraid to do what is right. For example, being in a codependent relationship, you might be too afraid to be alone instead of letting go and facing your fear and diving into those feelings and emotions and figuring out what took you to that emotion. What is that you're holding on to? What past memories and suffering are you holding on to that you cannot properly assess that this relationship connection is not good for you? You are good enough. I want you to know that. I want you to know that you are good enough, okay? I love the philosophy of non-attachment because it has helped me just breathe. Every time I freak out about something, I'm like, who cares if he didn't text you back? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It's simply focusing on the situation as it is without adding extra anxiety on top of it or fear on top of it or, disappointment, all these things that we like to layer onto a situation that does not need to be there. It doesn't need to be there. Happiness is not something that's supposed to be in your life forever. Without sadness, you can't learn what is hurting you. Without pain, you can't learn not to do that anymore. Without pain, you can't move forward. You feel me? Happiness is not something that's supposed to be in your life. And people that say, oh, I'm happy all the time. Oh, I am happy all the time. Be real. Non-attachment is allowing sadness to flow through your veins, saying to yourself, I love the feeling of sadness in my body. I love the feeling of frustration in my body. Why? Because they're teaching you. There are lessons. There are things that you need to feel because the harder we push them down, the more we're trapping them in our muscles, in the way we tense our muscles when something happens. The way we react to something is out of that because we held on to it instead of letting it flow, instead of letting it go. But we need to feel it. I think about Finding Nemo when Dory forgets to tell Marlin that they need to go through the trenches instead of up, because the more that you try to avoid the scary things and the depths of our emotions, the more crap you're gonna go through. And I think that that's a lesson that people have a hard time learning, no matter what age you are. It's just gonna be a lot easier if you let yourself cry it out, or if you let yourself acknowledge that this hurts. It hurts. But like happiness passes, that too will pass. And just don't be attached to, oh no, I never want to fall in love again because it hurt too much and I don't want to lose that person. And I spent days crying. And I just don't want to love anybody anymore. That's an attachment to one idea. You are so attached to the fact that you want to push people away. Non-attachment translates also to what you want. Like I said earlier, I want to live in a van. But if I'm attached to the idea of living in a van, I will become sour. Focus on the things that you could do right here, right now, instead of focusing on what you cannot control. Focus on the little actions that you could take today to take you to where you want to be tomorrow. Focus on today. Tomorrow is not given. Life is always changing. Things break. People get sick, and that's the name of the game. The only thing that you and I can do today is to do our best. Our best to love and cherish the people that are around us, our friends, our family. Our best to help when we can help and lend a hand when we can lend a hand. Hear people out when they want to be heard. Beyond that, there are many things that are out of our control. Obsessing over the details causes pain and suffering. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I will ask you, what are you attached to? Take only what you need. Never more, never less. Don't be greedy, bitch. Bye.